My experience at Harper was a really good one. I think it was, at the time, exactly what I needed. I don't think I was ready to leave my community and leave my family when I graduated high school. And I had a lot of learning to do in terms of like how to manage my own care as a person with a disability. And my studies at Harper, I was able to get the support I needed in classes, and also to participate in other community programs through the school. So it was a positive experience. I felt supported, and I think it was the next level, like what I needed to be able to go to the next level and transfer to a four-year university.
There was inaccessible campus in 1973, and I was director at that time, director of environmental health, and we had our first deaf students on campus, and we did not know they were coming, and the admissions department did not know what to do with them, so they sent them up to the director of environmental health. I guess I was supposed to fix their deafness. I knew nothing about deaf education. I had called Hersey High School, where the students came from, and hired an excellent interpreter. And I learned with Lee Potts, was her name, together as we worked with these deaf students. Several years later, we started what was called the Hearing Impaired Program, and I hired Chris Hunter, a deaf man, to run that program. At the same time, I was working trying to make this campus accessible for the disabled, physically disabled people other than deaf people. And that was the entree of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 that required all publicly funded institutions to be accessible. And my dissertation was the institutional compliance of that act. One of my exercises was I put a number of administrators and faculty in wheelchairs for the day and let them go around the campus and see how inaccessible it was. I can remember walking into the Vice President of Business Services office and saying, do you know if you were in a wheelchair you couldn't go to the bathroom at Harper College? Dr. Lottie was the president at the time, and they very aggressively started rehabbing the campus. And granted, I had a big stick called the law, but a lot of colleges didn't pay any attention. I hired Tom Thompson, one of the last directors of what became Access and Disability Services. So I was always supportive of that area, but that area was in student affairs, and my purview at Harper was in academic affairs. So it was a collaborative relationship, but not a direct relationship.
Probably came to Harper in around 1976. And so I got to see the school, I got to find out what they were doing with deaf students. I didn't have a plan necessarily to go there at that point. I went to work for Jewish Vocational Service in the city. I was there 3 years, and the then vice president of Harper, I don't know how they got my name, called me, David Williams, and asked if I would be interested in applying to, fill an administrative position at Harper. So I applied and I got the job. And I started in the fall of 1980. To Liz's credit, to Liz McKay, Liz completed one of the requirements that was part of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. That law was written in 73, but it didn't go into effect until 1977. So by the time I arrived, between 77 and 80, Liz had conducted what they call the transition plan, which is an evaluation of physical accessibility for the whole campus. And she'd also completed a programmatic evaluation, evaluating all the campus policies to find out if there were any discriminatory practices built into them or any lack of access. So I got handed that. And to be honest with you, having worked in the field a very long time now, most campuses I go to, they never did that work, that 504 work. Once I officially became the ADA coordinator, I worked much more closely with facilities and with IT, and helped promote initiatives to make the campus more accessible. So one example in facilities was I'd been pushing to get more automatic door openers on the entrances to buildings and other key entryways. And so I planted that idea with the facilities director, and he had a chance to get some extra money for the state for some innovative projects. So he came to me and said, okay, I have money now. You know, where do you want these doors? And let's see how many of them we can afford. So I think we installed 28 automatic door openers with the funding that he brought to the campus. So that's just one example. We also did in the later years, working with faculty development, we had a faculty fellows program, and it was to try to encourage faculty to incorporate accessibility and universal design into their course planning. So every year for a few years while I was there, we recruited 3 or 4 faculty to be a part of the fellows program, and they would take one of their courses and they would revamp the course and make it more accessible.
I'm thankful that I had the support that I did. I still stay connected with several of the people that helped me when I was here. And it really is part of my journey and my story of where I am now. So I'm very thankful and proud of being a Harper student.